There is a new Cuban Olympian who was signed to the UFC, and folks, he is bigger than Yoel Romero. We're going to watch every single one of his knockouts here before this video ends. So stick around. It's going to be amazing. Unlike Yoel Romero, Robelis Despaignes, the UFC's most recent heavyweight signing, prospect coming out of Titan FC and Fury FC, absolute beast, but wasn't grown in a lab. Unlike Yoel Romero and Yao Ming in China, he was not grown in a lab. The 6'7" heavyweight MMA fighter Robelis Despaignes is a Cuban Taekwondo practitioner, Olympic bronze medalist, and now MMA fighter signed to the UFC. The UFC's big, no pun intended, latest signing. After scoring a 4-second knockout in Fury FC 84 mid-fight card.
Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. I just received word that the UFC just signed Robelis Despaignes, confirmed by Mick Maynard. Robelis Despaignes signed to the UFC.
The spontaneous and unprecedented move by the UFC and matchmaker Mick Maynard, like I said, occurred and was announced during the Fury FC event. Like there were like 4 or 5 more fights, if I'm not mistaken, maybe 4 more fights left on that card, and it was announced on the broadcast. His last 2 fights lasted a combined 19 seconds. All first round knockouts, obviously. And his pro debut, his 4th fight, he scored a knockout in the final 4 seconds of the first round. Unbelievable. So as you can see here, 3-0 in Fury. Defeated 1-0 guy. Look, his record, it's not like he's fighting world beaters here, but he's brand new to the sport, right? He's brand new to the sport. And the way that he's taken these guys out is nothing short of outstanding. Upon being questioned, upon being interviewed about the signing, when asked about the signing and how it all went down mid-card, he was quoted saying, "I knocked him out, they raised my hand, and then I was pulled for an interview. When I came back, I spoke to my manager, AJ Ariosa, and literally 2 minutes after the fight, he told me, hey, you're signed to the UFC. 3 minutes after that, they announced it in the cage. That's how it happened." And I remember Activate A was telling us, a loyal subscriber and valued exclusive member on this channel, he even was like, I can't wait for this Fury card because of the Cuban Ngannou. I can't wait for this Fury card because I can't wait to see this guy score another big knockout. So Activate A was just losing his mind when he got signed, as were we watching that live. 15 years on the Cuban national team for Taekwondo. He competed in the 2012 Olympics, where, like I said, he scored bronze, competing in the heavyweight division. He said it was after the Olympics. It wasn't gold, it wasn't silver, but placing at the Olympics, getting a medal at the Olympics is unbelievable. After winning bronze at the Olympics, after just reaching that peak of competition where, yeah, you didn't win gold, yeah, you didn't win silver, but you're etched in the history books and you competed at the world's highest level. I imagine like working your whole life to not only just qualify, then get into the Olympics, compete, and not only that, but win. Unbelievable. After all that, he described starting to fall out of love with the sport. Not training, but out of love with Taekwondo. And he continued to train while he went to school, while he went to college. But during that time, between 2012 and 2019, his coach continued to push him to start MMA. And funny enough, Despaignes didn't want to do MMA. He did not want to get KO'd. He straight up said, I don't want to get knocked out. That's not what I do. That's not my sport. That's not my martial art. However, once the seed was planted, he watched more and more and more. And the more he watched, the more he trained, the more he thought, I can do this. I can do this. And again, he has a college degree in physical training. He had opportunities after his Taekwondo career, after his Taekwondo chapter of his life. But he decided instead to roll the dice and go all in and jump into MMA. He's 35 years old. He's no spring chicken. Now, he is in the heavyweight division. He is an athlete. Cuban training team. I mean, look at Yoel Romero. This guy's going to fight till he's 45 years old and look no older than me. Let's be perfectly honest here. But having said that, throughout that time, he started to take it seriously and get ready for a pro career. In 2019, that's when him and his team were ready. And he seriously started prepping to go pro and start to find matchups on the regional scene or amateur, getting whatever fight that he could get. But we know what happened around that time. The global pandemic halted his plans 3 years. 3 years. That's right. He was supposed to go pro or at least get his first amateur fight in 2019. But due to everything that was going on in the world, he did not debut until 2022. He started training in Cuba, then moved to Florida, where he continued to hone his skills, and he started grappling and jiu-jitsu only back in 2019. Now, he had the base of it, and he's grappled before, he was quoted saying in a few interviews, but he never like hardcore trained Brazilian jiu-jitsu or grappling in the framework of, you know, could I compete in this in a single lane, or can I really add it to my arsenal of fighting tools? It was mostly just learning the basics before 2019. 2019 is when he started to really hone down and polish those skills. And he says that I have no issue with it. I have no issue with the ground game. And he actually wanted to compete in a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament. But at this stage, he said, I just have to focus on MMA, and I didn't want to like book a tournament and then a fight comes up here and have to like sacrifice anything to do with MMA at this stage in my career. But he said that I think that I'm good at jiu-jitsu. I think I'm actually pretty good at grappling for being new to it. Obviously, with the Taekwondo base, there's a little bit of stuff that you can lean on. There's going to be certain movements, there's going to be certain, explosive movements too that your body is used to, that your mind can comprehend a little bit more. But at the end of the day, that's still 3 years. 3 years and ready for the big leagues. But he says he's comfortable and he's confident, so confident that he said he'd be confident competing in jiu-jitsu competitions right now. So as a result, he's not scared if a fight goes to the ground. Now, if he's fighting Tommy Aspinall in a few years, that's a whole different story. Maybe even Almeida, let's be perfectly honest. Although this might be the only guy that Almeida cannot ragdoll because he's freaking 6'9", ladies and gentlemen. Or sorry, 6'7". 6'9" would be insane. 6'7", jeez. So he's confident that even in the UFC, obviously fighting better heavyweights, but not that much better, let's be perfectly honest. Some of these UFC heavyweights could very well show better than a 0-0 guy on Fury. Not against Despaign, though. But anyways, he's confident in his skills right now, and we know where he thrives. He's in the heavyweight division. We know where these guys thrive. It's that knockout power. And boy, oh boy, does he have it. He is aiming to fight at UFC 299 March 9th in Miami. That is the preliminary date. Like that's where he's aiming to get a fight. That's where the UFC wants him to fight. They want him in March. They want him on that big card. They want to welcome him to the UFC on a big stage. Now, could you imagine a 4-0 UFC prospect? Now, you're 35 years old. I get it. But, and your first fight, UFC 299. At least it's not 300, but, they wouldn't probably put a guy like him on 300. Prelim or not, that's a huge stage. And if it's in his backyard of Miami, then that would just be better for him. He can stay in that area and train. But yeah, targeting March potentially to UFC 299 is when we will likely see him in the UFC. He's been really active this last year. Yeah, before we get to looking at his highlights, we'll end it off with just a quote from him here. He says, "My ambitions have been very high through everything I've done. That's not going to change now. I want to fight 3 or 4 times next year. That's for sure. And I want to hopefully fight for the belt in 1 or 2 years. I'm going to fight for the belt and win it." Now, if you just looked at this guy's Tapology, okay, heavyweight on the regional scene. Okay, he's got good knockouts. He's got quick knockouts. And then you read that quote from him, you might just be like, okay, buddy, we gotta see more of you. We gotta see more of you. For all of you watching this video right now, this is for you. Let's start with his first fight. Ladies and gentlemen. Katuma Malumba, Titan FC, against another heavyweight making his pro debut, Katuma Malumba. Let me show you how much of a motherfucker this guy is, guys.
Of course. There's no doubt. Oh my! The right shot lands, and now Malumba in a desperate attempt to cover up. Wow. And with only seconds left in the first round.
One more time.
There's no doubt. Oh my! The right shot lands, and now Malumba in a desperate...
So that was his first fight. That was his first pro MMA fight. His second pro MMA fight was against a cat named Travis Gregoire. Let's say poor Travis Gregoire. Let's just say he didn't fare any better, ladies and gentlemen. So that was his only fight in Titan. He then moved to Fury, now officially on the map.
Heavyweight showdown 2012. Bronze medalist in Taekwondo. Oh, shots. Good Lord. Oh, that's it. That's it.
Oh my goodness.
Heavyweight showdown the 2012. Bronze
Impatient, stuffing the takedown.
medalist in Taekwondo.
Uppercut. Hammer fist to the side of the head, and he's out. He's out.
Oh, that's it. That's it.
Damn, son. Oh my goodness. Next on Murderers Row, we had Stevie Payne. Stevie Payne going against Despaign. Stevie Payne was also making his debut. This was at Fury Challenger Series 7, ladies and gentlemen, where poor Stevie Payne got knocked out in 3 seconds. Let's take a look.
Big man action. These heavyweights ready to go. Big head kick and right hand. That's going to do it. Wow. Head kick to right hand. Robelis Despaign.
I haven't watched this one yet. I've seen the pictures. I've seen the picture's gonna be the thumbnail of this video when it drops, but I've seen the pictures. I wanted to watch it with you guys. Oh my god.
Moderate big man action. These heavyweights ready to go. Big head kick and right hand. That's going to do it. Wow. Head kick to right hand. Robelis Despaign throws 2 punches. Two strikes both land, and a massive KO finish.
Oh man, what are they feeding these guys in Cuba? Again, he wasn't grown in the lab. He started Taekwondo at 9 years old, where Yoel Romero just started, becoming a killing machine when he was like out of the womb or the petri dish. I don't know at this point. Again, that's what I'm saying. Yoel Romero and Yao Ming are the world's 2 athletes that I'm convinced were grown in a lab. I don't think Despaign was, but he definitely was with that team, the Cuban Olympic national team. Not in the wrestling department though, and maybe that's why. Maybe Taekwondo is a little bit cleaner, natural than humane than that of wrestling. Anyways, last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, taking on arguably his best pro competition yet, going up against a guy who was 1-0. He faces Miles Banks and unfortunately doesn't get another 3-second knockout, but I think 4 seconds will do. And we had the pleasure of all watching this one together on last week's stream, so thank you to everybody who joined. And this was the fight where Mick Maynard, because Mick Maynard was still in Houston after UFC Houston, Mick Maynard was in attendance, and thank God he was probably boozing it up a little bit and was like, yeah, Dana, we need him. Dana's like, dude, I don't give a sign him. Okay, I got him. And that's what happened.
In Banks. Oh, my goodness. No! In Banks. Oh, my goodness.
Dude. How excited are you guys to see a new heavyweight prospect? Other than when Tom Aspinall or Pavlovich fights, and to a certain degree, Derek Lewis, but that's just because, who doesn't love Derek Lewis? But, he's not the same Derek Lewis as he was back in... Derek was fighting Fury or Cage Fury? Regardless. Maybe it was LFA, back on the regional days in early UFC. But I haven't been excited for the heavyweight division in a long time. Yeah, maybe I'm on an island. John Jones coming back to the heavyweight division. How easily he dismantled Cyril Gane, I was just kind of like, meh. If that fight was competitive, then I would have been pumped, man. Pavlovich obviously gets me excited, but look at what Tom Aspinall did to him, right? Curtis Blades is fine. Gelton Almeida is not a heavyweight, and it's embarrassing actually that he's ducking opponents at light heavyweight to ragdoll unathletic older heavyweights. I digress. What I'm trying to say, longer the short of it, before we wrap things up here, is I have not been this excited for heavyweight UFC prospects or just a matchup for a heavyweight UFC prospect in a long time. You look at the heavyweights that they brought in from Contender Series this year, garbage compared to this guy. And I know there's not a big sample size in a freaking 5 minutes. There's 4 minutes and 54 seconds of tape where you can see, okay, he can fight a whole round and it's heavyweight MMA. Heavyweight MMA doesn't really go the distance, except for recently in the UFC, which is why we need more heavyweight prospects, which is why we need more knockout artist prospects, which is why we need guys like this 35 years old prospect who's just going to come in like a frickin' wrecking ball, ladies and gentlemen. I'm excited for this guy, the new Cuban Olympian, the Cuban Ngannou Despaign, ladies and gentlemen. Smash that like button and subscribe. Let me know if you're excited to see this guy in the UFC, and I will see you on the next one.